want to welcome you to Coffee Talk by CertiProf. This is a space to share and discuss educational topics with guests who have a passion for teaching and an interest in learning. In this episode, we're going to talk about OKRs, what they are, what are the benefits, and how to implement them. Today, we have the pleasure of talking to Antonio Polo. He's an OKR expert and agile coach. Hi, Antonio, how are you? Welcome to our Coffee Talk.
Hi, Gina. I'm good. And how about you? Thank you very much for the invitation.
Of course, doing really good. Antonio, can you start by giving us an introduction about yourself?
Yes, my name is Antonio Polo. People used to call me Polo. It's my surname. And I live and work in Brazil. I am an agile coach here in Brazil for big companies, the main banking companies in Brazil. So my focus is on business agility, and also I am a mentor of OKRs in several companies in Brazil. And also I'm a trainer, OKR trainer in Brazil. I have the main training events in Brazil, which is OKR Bootcamp.
That's awesome. So let's start from the basics. Can you let's start with the basics. Can you start by explaining what OKRs are?
Sure. OKR is a framework which was created in the 1970s in a competition context. And it's a framework focusing on critical thinking to create discipline in the teams, to ensure that everyone works together in the same direction. So it's known in the market as a goals target methodology, but it's more than it. It's related to collaboration, team focusing, and also performance, competitive performance. And there's a strong relation of OKRs with exponential growth as well. So it's a complete management system and culture system as well.
That's awesome. So can you explain also what the benefits are of implementing objectives and key results?
Yeah, the first benefit we have is the alignment. So when you have the strategic goals of the company, tactic goals, and operational goals, so you have all those goals aligned. Not only the vertical alignment, the hierarchical alignments, but also the horizontal alignment. Okay. So the first benefit is to have clear goals and always aligning with the company. We have the clear direction for the teams, for the individual. Also, when you have goals oriented, the performance improves as well. So you have performance improvement, clear performance improvement of the companies. Okay, and also OKRs brings the company to be more data driven, because when you set an objective and you don't have data, you are encouraged to find a way to get the data from the market, from your products to your company. So OKRs helps the companies to be more objective, less based on judgment, right? So, but more based on facts and quantitative information. So there is a lot of benefits. Also, transparency is a good benefit of OKR. Communication. So it's a methodology that when we adopt in the company, the communication improves in the company. So we have several cases in Brazil. For example, companies for building constructions in Brazil, real estate, right? And this kind of sector has low communication models. And when we implement OKR, the communications increase, the communication channels start being used by the teams. So it's kind of magic when you use OKR for that. So there's a lot of benefits, not only about related to objectives, but also to entire company collaboration. That's a good thing for OKR.
Yeah, one of the things that I like about OKR is that, like as you just mentioned, that it doesn't matter the industry or the size of the company, like anyone can use it. And then it also brings productivity and accountability for all the departments within the organization. And what you just mentioned, like it gives it's transparent, it gives the team clarity, it lets the team focus on something, because it comes, I mean, they're supposed to be set up for all the companies, so like everyone should know what everyone's OKRs are. So I think it's a really good thing because everyone is like working towards the same goal. And then each different department, they're doing like their own OKR, so everyone can achieve their goals. So I think that's really good.
Yes.
So okay, so let's say that somebody's listening or seeing this and they're like, okay, I love the idea of OKRs. Those are great benefits. I want to implement that. So like, if I want to start implementing OKRs right away, what should I do?
Yes, that's a very good question, Gina, because I think when you start thinking about using OKR, you should start by the purpose, starting by the whys. Yes, as Simon Sinek says. So there's several reasons to think about OKR as a good tool to manage objectives in your organization. And the first one, it's an academic information which is it's very known in academic scenario, which is companies that are managed by objectives has better performance than companies that are not. Okay, this is very information, very common and common sense in academic. Okay, so just think about to have goals oriented in your company. The performance will increase, even though if you don't beat those targets at the beginning, takes a long time to reach those targets, those objectives. But for the simple fact that you have the culture of objectives, will improve the performance of organization. Okay. Other thing that you should start doing is to read some good books like Measure What Matters from John Doerr, which is considered the father of OKRs. Okay, the guru of OKRs. This guy implemented OKR in Google when Google had 40 employees. Okay, and the market says that Google grew up exponential, especially because the OKRs. Okay, and myself, I doubt of this information. I questioned this, and after that, I started reading some comments from the Google founders. Okay, right page and Sergey, and there are sentences from them saying that OKRs was the main thing that helped them to grow exponentially. Okay, so it's not only a myth; it's something that came from the founders. Okay, so read these books, understand. Other thing that should be good to do is to see your market scenario, your competitors. Okay, or even more competitive in industries, for example, financial service, telecom. Okay, and get some case studies in your region, in your country, which companies are using OKR and what's how they are implementing, what are the benefits, why big companies, for example, in Brazil, the the first bank in Latin America, which is Itaú, is strongly moving to OKRs. Okay, why a huge bank will decide to move to OKRs, right? So there's a lot of strategic discussions on that. Okay, so get case studies in the market and start building the reasons to think about OKR. Another thing would be good is to get some kind of pilots, kind of experiments on the organization. You don't need to shift the key to our organization. You can get the more innovative structure in organization, teams, directory, and then start doing a pilot of OKR, an experiment, okay? And get the results. If it's good, then you scale to the entire organization, okay? So think carefully and about OKR.
Yeah, one of the things that I read is that it took Google 3 to 4 quarters to become good at writing OKRs. So one of the things that people should know that is that you need to stick with it and stick to them until at least for 3 to 4 quarters, because I mean it's gonna take you some getting used to it. And also one of the secrets that I read about creating OKRs is to have the right culture, motivation, and knowledge. Because first of all, obviously you have to know about what OKRs are, and also the company, because OKRs are based on transparency. So everyone in the company has to have to keep that in mind, that everyone needs to work towards the transparency. And then one of the things that I like about OKRs that I read was to be ambitious as possible, because it's better for you to achieve maybe 70 or 80% of your OKRs instead of like putting some OKRs that you know that you're going to achieve. So be as ambitious as possible, because that's what's going to drive you to have better results.
That's correct. Yes, it's like a personal trainer, right?
Exactly.
You don't have an exercise that will hurt you, right? But you also don't have to be an exercise that's too easy to do, right? So there's a
Exactly.
balance, and you increase the ambition, right? Gradually. So that's the point on OKR. Okay.
Yeah, and then also I read about this CFR, conversation, feedback, and recognition, how it's also very important to recognize that we have to have those conversations, provide those feedback to the people that we see that may be having some problems with the OKR. So I read that too, that we should keep in mind this CFRs. And then let me ask you something. So do you need a tool to implement OKR?
Well, I would not say that we needed to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I saw I worked in several financial companies in Brazil, for example, that have uh, 1,000 employees, right? And they use Excel to manage OKRs, okay?
Okay.
But of course, they start using Excel in the first cycles, right? And that's a key point, that we need a software that to manage more to better manage the information, to get more clear reports and uh, check-ins and status reports for the executives, right? So it's not you don't have to have a software at the beginning, but sometimes that will help you. But it's not mandatory, right? Because OKRs should be simple, right? Should be few per departments, per area, per squads, per team. So uh, again, you can start with a good Excel file, and then you move forward to software. Software is more beautiful, right, and more collaborative. If you have a huge organization, I think you should think about the software. Okay, 1,000 people, it's okay. I worked here in Brazil in a case which have 1,800 people. So in this case, I think we should have a software at the beginning. Okay, it depends on the size of the company. Okay, but keep it simple. Software brings complexity, right? So maybe you can start more simple, then brings the software.
So going back to the secrets, I mentioned that you should have the knowledge about what OKRs are and understand the weekly, monthly, and quarterly process of OKRs. So do you think that you need an OKR coach to help implement OKR?
That's an excellent question, Gina. Very good question. Uh, there's a book that I think it's in English. It's from Kahneman, the economy Nobel. The name of the book is Fast and Slow, something like that. Okay, it explains how our brain works. Okay, and then if you don't have a stressor, right, something to make us a checkup, we will not work well with objectives. Okay, objectives are counterintuitive to humans, right? We as humans, genetically, we are designed to work and to live as we are, right? Not having objectives. Okay, so the situation that you should have a coach, we say in Brazil, guardian, okay, and something like that, champions. It's very important to keep the discipline, okay, at least, especially in the beginning, the first cycles, to create discipline, ensure that the data is monitored, the team is focusing on reach the OKRs, okay? So I think it's very important to have codes. So you can have a couple of codes and you can create a relation. For example, one coach takes care about one department, one team. So a relation coach versus teams. And these people will help you teach OKR, so methodology support is important as well. So these people should study OKRs, know about OKRs, train the people in OKR, okay? But also have the what we say check-in meetings, which is weekly in OKR, ensure that they occur, that the information is clear, transparent. If there's no progress in the OKR, the coach should align an action plan to cover the late on this. Okay, so it's crucial. It's very important to have codes. Okay, in this process. There's a situation that the same department updates its own information. Okay, but I think it should be works better with codes.
Antonio, thank you so much for the tips that you just provided us. But what are the things that we need to avoid when starting setting up OKRs?
Good question. The first thing to avoid is to have short-term expectations about results, right? As you well mentioned, uh, it's not in the first cycle, in the first quarter, you bring the results from OKR. You should run the literature, the bibliography says, the book says that you should run at least 4 cycles, which means 1 year, okay? 4 quarters, trying OKRs, improving quarter per quarter, quarter after quarter, and then you start having the results, okay? So it's a cultural approach, not only I need the objectives, and if they don't come, they don't be reached in the first cycle, so I don't like OKR, let's stop doing that. Okay, so long-term expectations, it's the first thing. Another thing that's important to adopt OKR is to follow case studies, okay? Companies that were successfully working with OKR. I recommend also to bring consulting companies to support the adoption, or even training the transformation team. Typical teams that should be trained in OKR in your company: PMO team, project management team, project management office teams, agile teams, agile transformation teams, agile coach, scrum masters. So those roles typically are good OKRs adopters, are good OKRs leaders. Okay, and another one that I forgot is human resource, right? Human resource should be strongly involved in OKR to bring the culture OKRs, the development OKRs. So we have a balance between deliverables OKRs and also the people development OKRs. So there's a good balance, right? Deliver and protection, right? So bring good people, bring transformation people, train those peoples, and also use consulting companies that have experience on this. Okay.
And then what do we need to avoid so when we're trying to implement the OKRs?
We should keep it simple. We should have few OKRs. Okay, so one or two per department, one or two objectives per department, and each objective should be 3, maximum 4 key results. So it's a mistake to have 10 key results, 16 key results. Okay, you have troubles to monitor this to bring the results. Okay, so keep it simple, few OKRs. Think carefully to have coaches, people to support methodology supports. Okay, so I think it's a good start. Do not expect short-term results, and then you have a lot of success with OKR. Okay.
Yeah, one of the things that I also read, going back to transparency, is not including your whole team in the OKR setting process, because I mean,
Yeah.
everyone in the company should know. Then great. So somebody is watching this and they're like, okay, how do I get the team to buy into OKRs? How can I do it so they can adopt it?
Question as well. The first thing that I say is that the team they know about OKR. Okay, they are in social networks. They are LinkedIn. They are in other. It's mainly in LinkedIn, as I say in Brazil. Uh, so they know OKR. OKR is in a hype moment. So we have a momentum. So we need to use the momentum to adopt OKR. So I think it's not a problem. The teams are engaged in adopt OKR. So if you do it right, you have the team collaboration. But keep it simple, right? The team should not think that it's one more boring thing to do, right? So it's important. It's strategic. We adopt this to long term, okay? So it's as culture adoption. You should start uh, not resistance, okay? Not blocking the resistance, but moving away from the resistance, okay? So it's a continuous improvement adoption, okay? Start at the beginning, and then you have improvement each quarter, right? That's the main point. But the team, they are motivated to get OKR, to get certifications. The marketing is requesting that, okay? So it get use the momentum. OKR is in the hype now, right? Our companies are looking at to OKR. So I'm the team. I would love to work with OKR because it will improve my career as well, right?
Yeah, one of the things that I read is that you should just explain the benefits, take the team's feedback, explain the process, and again, going back to the transparency, set the objectives with the employees. I think that's what's going to
Yeah.
help you motivate the team to start implementing OKRs.
Yes, the transparency is it's very important as well because when you have the transparency, you as the time goes forward, you have few meetings because always is transparent. I'm watching my peers, my departments, which is my peers, and I'm looking what they are doing in their OKRs. So there's a organic alignment that occurs vertically and horizontally. Okay, so it's kind of magic in OKR. Okay, there's a TAD, not sure how we say in English, but TAD talk in YouTube that you have from John Doerr, where he explains how Bonovox use OKR to in his charity organization. Okay, so it's a beautiful talk. Everyone should watch this in YouTube. Okay,
The tech talk.
that talk, yes.
TED
It
Talk.
talks about transparency and the magic when you have this transparency. Okay, so must watch.
Yeah, we're gonna link it in our description so everyone can watch it.
Good.
So should I set the OKRs from the top to the bottom or vice versa?
Well, OKRs are more bottom up, are more focused on bottom up. We should ensure that at least 60% of the OKRs are bottom up, comes from the teams, right? But when you have a strategic adoption of OKR, it should start in the CEO. It should start in the high levels of the companies, or even in an experiment should start with a director, vice president, high levels. Okay, so they set the more long term objectives. Okay, long term OKRs, strategic OKR, annual OKRs, and then there's an alignment work that goes to the teams, right? But there's a pitfall in OKRs when you don't reach the teams, okay? Because when you are writing the OKRs, the time is counting. You lost 1 month, you lost 2 months, and there's a pitfall that okay, let's finish here in the management team, between the management team, and not progressing this to the teams to create OKRs. But the magic will occur when the teams think about the objectives, always aligned with the top objectives, okay? But it's very important to reach the teams and to get them the opportunity to create OKRs. Uh, you as a manager, you should validate those. You can approve, you can reject, okay? But the teams should have the opportunity to create, okay? That's the magic of OKRs, okay? You bring engagement with that, right? You have engagement.
Exactly. So what about KPIs versus OKRs? What's the difference between those two?
Well, the OKR formula, you have the objectives, which is more qualitative, right? And you have the key results that are quantitative. They have numbers, okay? So if you have a KPI, maybe he should be a candidate to be key result, okay? But how he can be a key result? If you have a KPI which is actionable, which moves the market, moves your market competitiveness, okay? That's a good KPI that should be you should bring that to a key result, okay? But there are other kinds of KPIs which more to keep the business under control, okay? So those ones should be worked. You not disregard those, okay? You work with that, but they are not good key result candidates, okay? So let's say the KPI support the key results, okay? But the key results, they should be actionable. They should move the markets. That's the difference between one and another, okay?
I think that OKRs are where you want to drive growth, like innovation and change, you know. They're like the ones that set the direction of the whole so the company can focus on it. And the KPIs are more like business metrics that tell you if your company are running on all of the cylinders.
Definitely, yes.
So, okay, can you provide us an example on how to set up OKRs?
Well, there are some roles to allow the teams to do that, okay? You can start by writing the key results first, and then you after discussing the key results in a brainstorming session, you create clusters, move the key results to groups, prioritize this, and then you go to the objectives, and at the end of this you write the objectives, okay? And there's the opposite. You start defining the objective, and after that you write the key results. So there's no a best practice on this, okay? I think you should create experiments, try with the team in the model one, first results after objectives, try with other teams, the other context, the opposite, and understand which is better for your company. Depends on the the company culture, the pace of the meetings and discussions. Okay, so there's the bolts model. Okay, and you can choose one and start. Avoid to have too many brainstorming in OKR. The tip would be to make a homework with the team, bring 3 or 4 OKRs from this homework, and then start discussion. Okay, do not start discussion with open mind. Okay, that's the tip that we do. Okay.
So like, for example, if a sales team, their objective is to grow their corporate through increasing transactions value and retention, what could be like a KR that could complement the objective?
Well, the selling teams, they use a lot OKRs about revenue. Revenue is a good OKR for selling team, which is supported by amount of orders to sell. So that's a balance that you're doing in selling teams. Okay. So you don't not only sell a lot, but also balance with what are you selling? What is the average ticket you are selling? Okay, so that's typical OKRs that we see in commercial teams, as say in Brazil. Right?
So do you think that if the objective is to increase the transaction value and retention, that maybe one KR could be increase the company's average deal size from $300 to $400?
Yes, those are very common OKRs in commercial growth of revenue and billing as well. That's some good examples that we have.
Yeah, there's actually a really good website. I believe is OKRexamples.co, where you can go and then you can pick your department, and then it gives you like some ideas of what the OKRs could be for your departments.
You mean for a website company?
Yeah, for like you go to OKRexamples.co and then like you can check by department, and then they give you like some examples on what OKRs you can do per for your department. So
yes, it depends on which department is. Okay, we have, for example, human resource OKRs. Good examples. We have perform one-on-one meetings. That's a good OKR for human resource. Amount of training, amount of hours, training hours per employee. So it depends on the department, right? But there's a lot of good examples from OKRs. It's good to think about examples because it gives good ideas to start writing. Okay.
For someone that doesn't know how to set up an OKR, it's good to see what other companies are doing too, so that can help them.
Right.
So talking about companies, like we already mentioned, Google implements OKR, or they use OKR, but then other companies such as Amazon, Dropbox, GoPro, Yahoo, Airbnb. So based on your experience, what other companies in your industry implement OKRs?
Well, here in Brazil, we have a hype in 2 industries. We have in financial services, very strong in Brazil, and also in telecom. Okay. So Telefónica in Brazil has OKRs, has strongly OKRs adoption. Telefónica from Spain, right, which is in Brazil as well. It's the biggest one here, and another one as well. And the financial services, we have big banks and also fintechs that we say in Brazil. That's technological banks, as we say in Brazil. So, and also in Brazil, which is curious, we have real estate using a lot of OKR in Brazil.
So it doesn't matter the industry, anyone can implement them.
Yes, the more competitive is the market, the better OKRs fit. That's the point, right? So financial service in Brazil is competitive. Retail, I don't see much in Brazil, but it should be. It should have, but they are not. Retail, they should organize the process before OKRs, okay? But if you are in a competitive sector, you should think about OKR, because the history of OKRs tell us about it. Okay, OKRs started in the 1970 years. Okay, with Andy Grove in the Intel company to compete with Motorola. So that explains a lot of things, right?
Great.
So competition, the much competition should use OKR to grow the company to compete.
Awesome. So OKR and Scrum, how can you
Yeah,
connect to?
sure. It's a good question. Uh, from 1 year ago until now, the market is thinking about OKRs for products. Okay, so we have Waze company. Not sure if you know Waze from
Yeah.
Israel from the driving, and they created the HoshKR, which a combination focusing on the OKR for products. Okay, so when you take care about a product, you have several teams that work in the same product, same value stream. We can have OKRs, which is a little bit shared between the teams to take care about one product. And when you deliver product, you use Kanban, you use Scrum to deliver that, or even if you use the traditional method, PMI method to deliver, okay? But when you talk about Scrum, a good approach to have OKRs is to use it as a prioritization tool, okay? Prioritization logic, okay? So you have a huge backlog, several things to do. And if you have your OKRs very well defined, you can compare your backlog with your OKRs. And if a work does not talks about an OKR, there's no an OKR related to this work, you should not do this work. Okay, so you disconsider, disregard this work. Then you focus on things that are more aligned with your OKR. Okay, so it's very simple to do in Scrum. The main Scrum tools like Jira, I'm not sure, in Brazil we say Gira, which I think is in English is Jira, Atlassian Jira, and other Kanban tools. You can associate an OKR with a ticket, okay? And so you work with this ticket to start working or not, depending on OKR. And more than it, when you finish the ticket, when you finish the work, you can move this to a last column on your board and wait for this, wait at least one month, 2 months here, and to ensure that the customer loves your product. Okay, so the OKR, you ensure that. Okay, so if you deliver a work, don't move your ticket to done. Okay, you move your ticket to waiting for your OKR validation. So you see the market, you bring the feedbacks, and then you check your success on your project. Okay, so it's a branch of OKRs that will grow a lot in this next year, for example. Okay, OKR for products. So you can combine this with Scrum, and you can use, for example, the Scrum review to ensure that your product is going to the right direction. So you use an OKR to do that. Okay. So it fits a lot with Scrum.
Antonio, what's the number one advice that you can provide to your lifelong learners who want to implement OKR?
Well, OKRs are good to career and are good to companies. Okay. So they will bring your company to the higher level, and they will bring your career as well to a higher level. Okay. So the market opportunities, the employment opportunities, they are looking for OKR experts, OKR coaches. You can be also consultant. You can provide service to organizations that are willing to adopt OKRs. Okay, so in our knowledge work, we sell knowledge, right? So it's a new knowledge that you get and you can sell to in your business. Okay, so
Exactly.
I strongly recommend.
Thank you so much, Antonio. Thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for sharing your knowledge and experience with our lifelong learners.
You're welcome, Gina. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Antonio, where can we find you if we want to know more about yourself?
You can find me in the LinkedIn. Okay. LinkedIn social network. Antonio Polo.
Awesome. Well, Antonio, thank you so much for your help.
You're welcome, Gina. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We thank those who choose to be here, and we hope that this space has been an inspiration to promote the professional growth of our community. If you want to know more about OKRs, visit us at CertiProf.com. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at CertiProf. Let us know in the comment below what other topics you would like us to discuss. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you know about our upcoming episodes.